Hey guys, how's it going? So it's been a few months since TNA went out of business after being cancelled by Spike TV. So I figure it's finally time to come back on here and pay my respects to the memory of TNA. And it is a shame that they went out of business when they did, because Omar and I even said right before they went under that it looked like TNA was finally starting to put all the pieces together and become the TNA that we used to love. Unfortunately, it was too late. But on the bright side, at least this leaves the room open for great talent like Velvet Sky to come to the WWE. Matter of fact, let me just pause this video real quickly and check if there's any updates on that rumor yet. Wait, what? So apparently TNA still exists, and honestly, I haven't watched an episode of TNA since they moved to Destination America. But the last time Omar and I watched TNA, we mentioned that it looked like TNA was finally starting to put all the pieces together to become the TNA that it should have always been. The TNA that we love, with that perfect mix of the experienced veterans, the rising new stars, underrated WWE talent pushed to their full potential, interesting characters, fun storylines, great matches, Velvet Sky, and overall, the perfect mix of everything. Does TNA still have all that today? Let's find out. I'm going to start off with the highlight of the week, the return of Velvet Pie. Now, the big complaint from the internet is how there's nothing left for her to do because she's done it all, it's boring, blah, 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 blah. This, of course, coming from the same people that defend Phil Kim for burying the division the past 4 years by using the excuse that she's the greatest wrestler of all time. Well, how about on the flip side of that? How about the fact that Velvet has more personality, charisma, and mic skills than anyone else in the division, past or present? Using that same logic that one superior skill is enough of an excuse to defy your entire point, Velvet Sky has way more superior qualities over Phil Kim, and therefore has more of a reason to still be there than Phil Kim does. So Velvet Sky returning is what's best for business, and we're finally going to get that proper Velvet versus Angelina feud that we never got. That's right, we never got it. TNA has built toward their feud before, but they never went all the way with it. In 2009, the feud was more about Angelina versus Madison Rayne, and in 2011, the feud was more Velvet versus Winter. There was never a real Velvet versus Angelina feud with a real blow-off match. So this is new, it is significant, and it is awesome. As much as people want to complain about how TNA needs to move on from the past and focus on the future, one formula that has always worked for TNA is having that perfect mix of both. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. In fact, most of the feuds going on today are established TNA guys feuding with the newer stars. Just look at the feud between the Wolves and Beard Money. You think about how much the Wolves have benefited from working with veterans like the Dudleys, the Hardys, and now Beard Money. How TNA has given the Wolves the chance to replicate classic matches like the Triangle TLC and the Best of 5 Tag Series. If TNA followed that philosophy of forget the past, only focus on you guys, then the Wolves would have just spent the past year feuding with the Bromans. And then you look at EC3, who was being built up to be the next world champion, which finally, the guy has always been an example of TNA bringing in the right former WWE guys that got screwed from reaching their full potential. Just like Drew McIntyre, and it's great that TNA brought Drew McIntyre in because this was a guy that at one point we thought was going to be the next Triple H. Matter of fact, both Mr. Kennedy, Bobby Lashley, and MVP fall into that same category of guys that we thought were going to be the future of the WWE that are now thriving in TNA. I don't know if Brodus Clay fits into that same category, but at least he does add something to EC3's character. So, as far as TNA still having that perfect mix of the new guys and the veterans to put them over, the potential is there. Even the knockout division is starting to become more diverse with the returns of Velvet Sky and Awesome Kong, as well as the debut of the Dollhouse. Now you have something that's old and new. You have the Velvet versus Angelina feud, you have the Dollhouse feuding for the title, and you have the potential in knockouts like Brooke and Rebel waiting in the background. This is the most depth the division has had since Phil Kim killed it 4 years ago. And that's not even counting Mickie James, who's currently in a feud with Magnus and James Storm, which is interesting because you can't tell whether James Storm is the condescending redneck prick trying to pick up on another man's woman, or if Magnus is the overly jealous, controlling boyfriend that probably beats her at home. So not only does TNA have that variety of talent, but they also have the interesting storylines and gimmicks too. So overall, I'd say TNA is doing a solid job right now. I wouldn't say it's as good as last year, but the potential is definitely there. Unfortunately, it probably doesn't matter what they do from here on out, as long as they're on Destination America, pulling in half the viewers that Total Divas does. But anyway, that just about does it for this week. Now, am I going to start reviewing TNA more now? I guess that depends on the demand for it. So, if you TNA fans want me to continue doing TNA reviews, then I'd be more than happy to. Let's try to get this video to 50,000 comments. Anyway, this has been MTO with the MTO More Reviews saying yada yada yada, blah blah blah.